What is up, everybody? Welcome to a hit new show called Dragon Ball Super University. My name is Tam, and I'm joined by
Xavier
and
Cody.
So I do this other podcast for a different card game, and we call it Study Hall. I would love to find out a cheeky name for us to name this show.
Hyperbolic Time Chamber.
That's really long for the intro. But anyways, what this show is for, what it's designed for, is we, as the Omaha community, are sitting down in front of a camera and talking about different aspects of the game. We're all bringing a topic, and then we discuss it for your amusement, entertainment, and knowledge. So with that said, we're going to start off with Xavier's topic. Xavier, what happened this past weekend?
The DBS Regional.
Yes! This game's very new.
Yes.
I'm new to the game. I've only ever played 2 decks ever. The deck that I've played was Vegito. They're just bobbity people, and it was fun. And then I read The Bad Son Gohan with Triple Strike, and the words, "You lose the game," are on the card, and I was like, we found it. It's all I want to play. So tell me all about this regional that happened. Learn me.
In a previous video on Cody's channel, I'm sure they'll
Link in
links
the doobly-doo.
in the description. We talked about our expectations, what we thought we would see, and we were kind of wrong.
Okay.
At least in regards to the top cut.
Sure. So, give me a recap because I might not have watched that first video.
So basically the thing that we went in was, so at Orlando, which was the regional before Vegas, which happened about 2 or 3 weeks ago, Mecha Frieza was 14, I think, of the decks. And then everything else was like trickling down, like 6 I think was number 2, which was Cell. And then with this regional that came up, I didn't count how many Mecha Friezas was in there, but it felt like it was less than Orlando.
Okay. Why do you think that is?
People learn how to beat it.
Okay.
So the biggest thing that everybody saw a flaw with Orlando, which is what we mentioned, was Trunks aggro, was a deck that was under the spotlight a lot.
So, for Trunks aggro, that's just because Trunks is so aggressive?
It was the aggressive strategy.
Okay.
So everybody that was playing Friezas were normally playing 4 Monicas, and what that card allows a Frieza player to do is to basically pot a greed at the cost of 1 life. They get themselves so low that aggro decks can just have your opponent kill themselves while you're also killing them as well.
Totally.
And just putting them when you attack for double strike from 5 and put them down to 3 life, then it's harder for them to win because playing spells for free gets a lot harder when you're putting yourself from a 3 to a 2 range.
Yeah.
The 2 range is when you're more susceptible to just straight up dying out of nowhere.
Especially with things like Miraculous Comeback Gohan existing. You can't take something to the face, or you can't have a dude die.
Well, the biggest thing is the Furthering Destructive Champa, the combo card that gives a battle card double strike.
You're right.
So that card is what kind of shifted towards more aggro decks being a lot better, and I think in the top 4 you saw a decent amount of those, except for the surprise Golden Frieza deck.
And Destructive says any card, not just your character?
Any card.
Okay.
So the card gains double strike.
Alright.
And it's really good because Jocko is normally like the counter for that card, but it's just because it's a 15k point swing, not that it reduces the card's double strike.
Okay. Alright. So what won the entire event? Did we already say?
Vegeta.
And what colors was he playing?
Blue-green.
Blue-green. Okay, so blue is all about like mana ramp and control, and green's about hand destruction? We're going to get into monocolors in a separate topic tonight.
They both have mana manipulation, but yeah, green is generally hand destruction.
Green is like, the best way to put it is like black from Magic, where it's like hand destruction and
manipulating the board state.
And a lot of Necrotons. Kill spells. The play of kill something. That's Necrotal in Magic. Where you play something and it kills something.
Sure. What got second?
Golden Frieza.
Golden Frieza.
Yellow, blue, Golden Frieza, which was probably the shocker.
Yes. I didn't think that deck would be seen at all.
And Vegeta was just hella aggro.
Yep.
And then Golden Frieza was just like a tempo deck?
Golden Frieza
yellow dudes, kind of?
it's in between. It felt like a mid-range deck, but with information. So the information that it normally got was they were playing the promo. I think it's Planetaire Mecha Frieza. I'm not sure if that's the exact one, but it's from set 1.
I'm gonna do my best to have these all on screen if I can figure it out.
When it comes into play, you look at your opponent's hand, and you can choose up to 1 battle card, and your opponent plays that card in rest mode. And it's a 20k double striker. So what you do is like you can play that card.
That's really cool.
And you can take like something like a Further Destruction Champa or a combo card that comes into play, but it's up to, so you don't have to take anything, because when they play it, they still get the effect.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna like, all right.
Piercing Strike Sun Gohan.
I was gonna say more of like Raging Terror Brawly or Rampage.
VRS.
Yeah.
But we like
Piercing Strike Sun Gohan.
Yeah, like
obviously.
you're not gonna bring in their win condition because bad things are gonna happen to you, or like bringing in the determined Super Saiyan 2 Son Gohan, the one that
just kills something,
yeah,
or
so
Kale.
just be like, yeah, okay,
Like
kill
I'll
your thing.
nuke your board.
So.
And at the same time, it gives you like hand information.
Yeah,
you just get the peek.
That's
like,
yeah.
Do I push?
Yeah, you get a peek, that's super relevant in this game. That's probably how he stole a lot of games, is because he was playing the 7 mana cooler that can bring out like 2 of those, so he get a peek twice.
Yeah.
And then just like bring out combo cards from his hand. So that's like another thing you could do, is if you put that card into play when you're trying to push for game, you could take a combo card away from them. So you could take a 10k combo out of their
Would have
hand.
been nice against you, huh?
Would have been super nice.
So there's a lot of. So he found out a way to reoccur that effect, which made it a lot stronger. And on top of that, he was playing Golden Frieza, which doesn't take as much damage, which will be better against the aggro matchups that need to do the full 8 damage to kill your opponent instead of roughly like 4 to 6.
Sure, because things like Frieza and
Mecha Frieza
most
kills
green
itself.
decks that TN themselves, they kill themselves to try and swing into that desperation a little quicker.
This deck still has like the power of the Frieza ability, which allows you to cycle a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
So what the Frieza ability does is you can kill a card, untap energy, and then draw a card.
Sure.
So it plays like a bunch of 1-drop duders that it just like plays, gets their effect, and then kills them, and then pluses a card off of that and untaps.
Perfect. I'm going to pause you real fast. We're all listening for the camera just because the battery's low, and we'll just do hard cuts, but we'll leave it on that. What got third? Do we know?
No idea,
no
actually.
idea.
So is that just... Okay, so that brings
what-
me... I wanted to get to this point a little
So-
sooner.
So the third and fourth, I knew were not Mecha Frieza. One was, I think they were both blue-green starter deck Gokus.
Wow.
All I know is Top Cut was not Mega Frieza.
There were no Mecha Friezas in Top Cut.
I think there was
At least not in top 4.
Oh, sure,
Final
sure,
running,
sure.
I think like 2 in top 8 or something like that. 2 or 3 in top 8.
But the presence was not there.
What
What you were saying?
How was the event coverage? Because everything that I've heard was actually just bad.
I didn't watch it. From what I heard,
Non-existent.
It's non-existent.
Non-existent.
Okay, so I'm going to talk to you, the good people. On this podcast, we want to be as positive, as community-friendly, and the good people who run this game, if they ever, in their big wigs, if they ever do see this, we don't want to shit on the game, but what we do want is to give ideas, suggestions, and true feelings about how we feel about the RAN event. And as somebody who could not be there, because we had to purchase tickets, is that a thing we had to do, right?
Yeah.
More or
So with
less.
us having to purchase tickets and not get there on time because of, we live in Omaha, the event coverage just didn't happen, didn't exist.
So basically what was heard through the grapevine as someone who woke up on Saturday waiting for the event to start
Excited.
with a 2-hour delay being on the West Coast. So the first thing that happened was their computer that they were going to use to stream broke. They
Okay.
apparently fried the motherboard.
Okay.
And so obviously the number one step from someone like me who works in IT is, redundancy is a great thing when you have backup.
Yeah.
always have a backup. And apparently they were trying to get like some others, and then eventually it boiled down to the Wi-Fi sucked.
Okay.
So at that rate, they're just like, the Wi-Fi sucked, so we're just not doing it at all.
And they didn't even do like round updates?
No. And they also did not post for the first time in the 3 or 4 regionals that have happened. There were no top 32 deck list at the end of day one.
Interesting.
So it was really annoying as someone...
As a spectator.
Yeah, like someone who was just like, okay, the Wi-Fi sucks. We're not going to see anything whatsoever, but I really want to see the top 32 deck list.
We care about the game.
And they're just like, yeah, you're not getting the top 32 deck list. Because then the reasoning is because, so no games were on stream, so no one, you're at a disadvantage when you play on stream, for the most part.
Sure, I guess I can see that.
In a blind, so that's why they give everyone the deck list. That's why they did that in Magic.
So
seeing as there's no stream, they're just like, all right, nobody gets a deck list, like at the end of the day one.
So in order to like keep things as quote-unquote fair as possible?
Well, I mean, still there's scouting.
Yeah.
You know, like you can have teammates scout like, you know, top tables and just look at that. I don't know.
That was a good job.
That's still a problem in Magic. It's just like you scout opponents, and then like when you go look at pairings, your teammate's just like, oh yeah, he's playing this, and he's sideboarding this and this and this. I watched like 3 of his games already. I already dropped out of this tournament. This is what you got to play around. Okay, that's still a real thing. And definitely like that should be something you should still give out deck lists to everyone at top 32. If this was a common thing that happened in the past regionals, just because of a live stream, if there wasn't a live stream, you should still treat it like there was, or like information's getting out. Because you're giving players unfair advantages by having teammates scouting.
And I'm sure if deck lists were required at other events, it must be in the tournament floor rules somewhere, or in the tournament rule set of this happens at 32. Unless it's something written in the rule of if no stream, then no 32. I guess that'd be fine because I mean it's written. But it seems really arbitrary to jump in. Do we have access to the floor rules at all? You can find it on the internet?
On the DBS website, I have looked at a version of it.
Sure. If we're wrong, let us know in the comments or even Discord. You can message Cody Johnson directly.
Like a lot of
You're
things,
welcome.
it fluctuates, so might not necessarily be the best thing to pick and choose from.
That's fair.
I mean,
That's fair.
it's even like one of those things that should be up to ARGs, just like discretion. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's what I'm
So
looking
this is an ARG event,
This is
not
an
a
ARG
all
event.
ARG.
not a
for.
Bandai.
No, so
Bandai's running the
Bandai gave ARG, I think you guys host regionals rights.
Okay.
So the floor rule thing, regardless, like if you show top 32 lists, you should show top 32 lists all the time, regardless of the stream or not. Just because, so one thing I think that happened is it was 7 of 8 pro play games, so of a team, I think, made it to top 32.
Okay.
And definitely that guy that was not in top 32 was definitely like 100% peaking for everybody else. There's no way he won it. What would that guy be doing? You're on a team, like you guys are trying to win. What do you tell your teammate? Hey, go watch future matches that are going to be happening for me in this top 32 bracket and tell me what they're playing so I can play around it.
I mean,
You don't even have to be on a team to do
that's
that.
part of the strategy of being at an event.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna bring this up, and you're gonna understand. We do that at UFS all the time. It's strictly for diversity battles. I don't care about the rest of the game. I care about what my opponent, my character's doing in the rest of the game.
Now, do you?
How is that person doing at the event? It's not quite exactly the same, but like we have scouts happen all the time, and they happen in every game.
Yeah, in every single game, but you can minimize that effect significantly if you just give out the deck lists.
Okay. All right.
Because then it just doesn't matter. Everybody has the same knowledge, same information. They do it for every other card game.
We could talk about the logistics of running an event as like a future topic. But back to the regional itself, you said you were incredibly surprised. Does this change your mindset of the competitive game now? Is this information from this regional that you're going to take back to locals and say, maybe I'm going to try Golden Frieza and mix up the list a little bit? Is this something that you guys are looking at?
Oh, I'm definitely going to try the Golden Frieza list.
I would try the Golden Frieza list. Me personally, I actually don't have the promos to do that.
Okay. Which is a whole other topic we can talk about. We can totally talk about promos.
I also no longer have the Golden Friezas. The medical issue.
The medical.
You're welcome, kid.
Trades. Yeah, are there any last minute thoughts we want to talk about the regional? Is there anything
rulings.
Rulings?
I heard there was an issue with a ruling, which
A not announcing double strike.
yes.
So somebody did not announce that their attack was doing 2 damage.
Do we have the card that says you have to announce it?
I think I don't know if it was a furthering destruction chopper that was giving double strike, or it was
Boo.
yeah, just like something.
Well, just a card that
Just a card
Says
that
double
just
strike.
says double strike.
But
Oh, okay, so hold on. The ruling is, the game mechanic says if it has double strike printed on the card, you can choose to make it single?
No.
no, that's not a thing.
Okay.
That was the issue. A floor judge? Ryan was talking to you.
Yes, I think I want to say it was a floor
So-
judge.
Definitely stop me if I'm saying something wrong. A floor judge ruled in favor of the opponent. You didn't say it out loud, even though it's there.
Uh-huh.
So it's 1 damage, and that costs the player
The game. Now, that
Double strike is not an if. There are in the rules for like hero abilities. When you attack with an awakened hero, you have to draw. It is not an option.
So double strike is an auto, you would say. It's like a non-printed auto.
No,
it happens.
it has to happen.
So it's like a static. It's just there.
Yes.
Just exists.
Yes.
Permanent.
It's just like you're breaking game rules if you're not taking 2.
Okay, so that sucks. And it was just a floor judge. They didn't go up to the head judge.
Not
I
from my
would
knowledge.
have.
I would hope they would.
I would have hoped they would. I would have 1,000% just been like,
I mean, at the end of the day, it sounds like both of the players were wrong because it was negligence on both parts.
well,
Both of them can read, and then it sounds like when the mistake was caught, that the floor judge did the wrong thing
yeah,
by not
so,
having the game just be done.
So basically,
Right?
what happened is like
You just
I want
both
to
lose
assume
to
how
one
the
game.
situation happened was like the opponent just took 1 card
Uh-huh.
and then like a turn passed and was like, "Wait, you're supposed to take 2 or something along those lines," and then they called a judge and then they probably explained the situation, and then the judge was just like, it was just like, "Oh, you didn't announce that he took 2, so he only took 1, so he just takes 1," and it's just like
That's a really cop-out answer, but
Yeah, no, it's
that's
just-
a hand wave of please continue to play the game. We can't actually go back. But at the same time, it is he said versus she said, so I'm not sure
that's
how
the
much
only
you
thing
can go
that I
back.
can assume what would happen.
I mean, it wasn't on stream, obviously.
But if it was like one of those things where your opponent's just like staring at you and it's just like, okay, and then he's just like, all right, go to damage, and then you just like take 1, and then his opponent's just like, yeah, judge, and then I did 2 to him, he only took 1, and then the person that took 1's like defense is just like, oh, he didn't announce I was taking 2, and then the judge is just like, oh yeah, you got to announce he's taking 2.
Yeah, it's just a bad precedent.
Yeah, that's wrong. What you said to his last statement of, a turn going by, game still going, that I can see, since the game is still new, rules
Sure.
are constantly changing, I can see how they might not know how to handle that.
I think at that point, then that floor judge should probably have gone up to the head judge and been
Yes.
like, hey,
Oh yeah, if you
The
make
head-
a snap ruling
that's,
like
yeah,
that,
that seems,
that's
The head judge should have been there in almost any scenario,
uh-huh,
and I don't think they did that, because that guy did lose that game.
it's interesting.
But again, on what you said earlier, not trying to be negative,
Yeah.
only constructive criticism, rules and wording on cards is something that definitely needs to be nailed down.
It's confusing because, I mean, every card game's verbiage is confusing to people who don't know what's going on, and it's also confusing because it's all super new. So it's totally possible that head judge just didn't know the correct course of action and did something that they thought was correct. So they thought they were doing the correct thing by hand waving and please continue the game, when in fact they didn't. And hindsight's 2020. It's just something that ARG, because they were running the regional, should get ahead of and say, all of our judges super trained, we've had this mistake and it won't happen in the future. But I don't know how big ARG is in order to have the chutzpah to come out and say that that's not a thing that should happen. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on from that topic, and we're going to jump to Cody. Which topic, dude?
God damn it. So the topic I chose was deck building and deck construction. And
Okay.
the thought thought process and ideas that I put towards deck construction when I make any kind of deck.
All right.
So with your experience with deck construction, actually, do you?
I have only ever attempted to make one deck, and it was the first version of that Gohan deck that I ended up going 2-1 with at locals, but it was only because of the surprise factor. It wasn't because the deck was good. It's because people just randomly put themselves to 3, and I was just like, oh, you're dead. And so, like, at locals, people have, like, pseudo-learned how to fight against it. At least, like, this crew has. Like, I still randomly catch new people with it. They think they're safe. I have 3 life, and I'm like, you're not, though. But whenever I made that deck, the biggest thing that I said that I needed to have personally as a player was 4 negate cards. I have to have that in my deck.
Are you talking like the 4 negate attacks, or are you talking about the bad ring lasers?
Oh, I love that. I said 4 negate attacks, and I didn't care what color they were. That was back when I was bad. So I just ran 4 of the green.
Before you were traumatized.
Right before I was traumatized. I ran 4 of the green negate cards because I was running mono green, and I was just like, I need to not die. I care more about not dying on your kill turn than I do trying to kill you. I would rather backswing you as a player than do the initial swing and that be my game plan.
Now, do you think negate attacks are the best way to not die on a crack? On a crackback or a crack in?
It is certainly the easiest.
It's the most straightforward for anybody that's linear thinking.
Totally. The option to it's definitely the easiest. I guess that's the best way to put it. As I'm looking at my options and I'm seeing what you've played, what you have open in energy, and what you have in hand, I have to calculate what I have, what are aggressive cards in my hand, because I don't just play negate attacks as my actions. I also play 3 now in my current Gohan list. Thanks. 3 of the fully awakened, fully enraged Gohan, the one that discard a card, destroy a card.
Yeah.
And that card is also a negate attack card, but it's discard 1, negate attack, destroy a creature.
Yeah.
So like that card says, don't die, don't deal with the problem later.
So you're 2 for 1ing yourself at the plus of killing the thing.
Yeah, and not dying, which totally happens in this game. Of I have the negate in hand, I don't think they're gonna kill me. Oh, they killed me. Like that just happens. So I would totally consider in your plus minus not dying whenever you're at desperation, when you're at 4, 3, 2. That's totally a +1 of not die on this attack. How about you? What do you have to have in your deck in order to make it work?
Right now, Jocko's.
Jocko?
Jocko.
Jocko's the 0/5 that bounces one
Bounces
defense?
one of their combos, yes.
Bounces a combo while giving 5k.
Yeah.
Right now I'm playing 2. I think you can go higher. I think it'll be okay.
I think in my list I have 3, but once again, I'm super new and I didn't build this. I'm just piloting it. I'm playing 3, yeah. That card that's very strong. You brought the topic. What comes to mind whenever you sit down and you're going to build a deck? I have to have X, Y, and Z. What is X, Y, and Z?
So the first thing that I try to go for is I try to go for packages. So packages in this term is what do I want to build around? So for instance, let's go with Cell. So like Cell.
Okay.
So when you want to play Perfect Force Cell, which is the 7 mana card.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the creature, not the leader.
Yeah, we're not looking at. In this case, you have to play androids.
Sure.
Because
either Cell or Andros.
Yeah, so you have to play an android, so you get one of the 2 leader options. But I normally just look at the card first. So I find a card, and I'm just like, I want to play that card. And then there's packages into those cards. So the Cell package is you play the 3 mana Cell, the 5 mana Cell, the 7 mana Cell, then you also have to play androids inside there.
Okay.
So you're definitely playing like the 18 android, and you're definitely playing the 17 android. So you can go 3, 5, 7, and make your opponent discard to 3 as fast as possible.
I hate that fucking deck.
So, when you're looking at that, you got to look at, so the starting build for most times is 12 plus 8, 20 cards. So you have 20 cards to start off with, and then you just have 30 cards that you can just fill in normally.
Filler. Yeah.
Whatever the hell you want. And that's where a lot of testing and numbers come into play.
Okay, so whenever you're building your deck, you don't look at what are power cards. You look at how does my deck work?
Yes.
What is the engine of the deck?
You definitely...
And then it goes.
Yeah.
So, like, another example for an engine would be the
Broly.
Buhan deck. Or Broly, sure. And so the Broly cards would be 4 of the 1-drop, 3 of the... Is it a 5-drop, right?
3 or 2, yeah.
And then 3 of the 6-drop?
And you could potentially also play the promo. There's a promo Brawly that basically is it's a 4-mana Brawly, but you can evolve for 1 green, and when you evolve a Brawly, it just kills something.
That's neat.
It's a little weaker than, the promo Gohan, for obvious reasons.
Yeah. But that's really cool to think about, because whenever I initially made that Gohan deck, or even I looked at the Vegito Babidi Gotenks token Gangbang that I first played, I could totally see how when the decks were being crafted, especially the Vegito one that I didn't make, there's definitely a package than the rest of it.
Yeah.
Do you think the game is going to keep these package fillers as their decks?
No, so basically where I think the game's evolving now, so packages will still exist, but I think packages are going to become smaller and smaller and smaller as the game comes on.
Okay.
And then eventually you're going to, what I think can happen is eventually you're going to reach like Cookie Cutter in Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not sure if you remember that deck, but it was just like, put all the best cards and put it in a 40-card deck, and we're good to go.
Totally.
It was like, it was basically like almost what GOAT format was, but that was, I think, after Metamorphosis got banned.
Sure.
So Cookie Cutter, I think, was the deck where you're still playing like Breaker, Spear Dragon, stupid stuff like that.
The best card
Literally,
text and
like,
numbers on the game.
Yeah, the best card
Stats.
text. And it had no synergy whatsoever.
Yeah.
I think like the only synergy was like Blackluster or Chaos Sorcerer, I think, at the time.
Sure.
That was it.
Yeah.
But beyond that, no cards did anything to interact with each other. They were just literally the best cards, which I feel like DBS might be going towards that way, but the best cards will be the best packages, but be done very small.
So, like, as opposed to the Android package, which you said was 20 cards.
20 cards.
It's going to be closer to 7 to 10?
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Sure. Okay.
So you're going to be looking at a package that's more like, that's reaching around about like 5 to 6 cards normally. So like a good one is Yours, which is the Inherited Will Son Goku, I think is what it is. That goes into the Gohan. So that's a 5-card package that you're playing, which is 3 of the 6-drop and 2 of the 7-drop.
Yeah.
Another one is Sacred Guard, Whis Sacred Guard, which is, I was playing 3 Bulma, 4 Whis Sacred Guard. So that's a 7-card package. That's about like where I think it's trying to go, is make those 7-card packages and not make those 20-card packages.
Sure. Do you agree with Cody's idea of where the game is going?
I do. I am worried about, because some packages have, whether they're them being small, like the We Sacred Guard Bowman package, is the color restraints. Like the Broly package.
Yeah.
It starts off fairly small, 1 green, but Broly is 4. Cost 6, 4 green.
Always 4 green, even to
Always
evolve
4.
it.
So as long as later cards don't have heavy colors specifics, I think that's possible.
Well, wouldn't it just let that color just be stronger then? If this package is crazy, and so it rewards you for playing more of this color, wouldn't that be just a design aspect then?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's probably where they went with Brawly, is you have to play green when like blue or yellow was clearly the like far superior color.
Yeah.
Beforehand, obviously. So you had to play very green heavy, probably like
Almost
60,
mono.
like almost, like you're getting to the point where it's almost mono.
Broly was the first Gohan deck that I made. I made Broly Gohan. That fucking sucked.
So when you're going with very heavy color restraints, you have to make there's a lot of decision making in terms of what you're putting in there, to the
Sure.
point where we wanted to play, when we were making Broly Frieza, we got to the point where we wanted to play Krillins because we were playing Kales. Krillin's a 1-mana 5k blocker.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because Krillin, A, is a blocker, so it's like that extra negate if you ever need it. Also, it's a sacrifice land to Kale when you want to play Kale.
Yeah.
Because having a resolved Kale is really good. And also, for the most part, it was normally just energy, which just allowed us to have more green energy. But
Makes sense.
when you go into deck building, it has those 3 reasons, and not just a niche reason with, it's also energy.
Yes.
As I say time and time again, which obviously nobody would know this, every card at its worst is always energy, but you want it to have more versatility options to it. So you don't want to play a card like, the best example is the Secret Rare Vegito, alright? The Secret Rare Vegito, you play one of in the deck.
Vegito here to save the day?
No. The 10
Oh,
mana
the
one.
10, the game's over.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that one is, I think, a really bad card. And the reasons that get brought up to me is like, sometimes you can just, sometimes you can just play it. And I was just like, at the worst, it's just energy. And I was just like, but you don't want that in your deck, because the niche situation that has to exist is you have to have a Vegeta and a Goku, and then you have to have 5 red available. So you're only playing it in Vegito. You're never casting that thing for 10. If you cast that thing for 10,
The game should be over.
The game should 100% be over. Either you win the game or you already lost the game at that rate.
Yeah.
Also super susceptible to Cold Bloodlust and to Crusher Ball.
Yeah.
Another reason why the card's not so great.
We can totally talk about that as a topic.
Being like that super niche situation, you'll probably see it 1 in maybe 20, 25 games.
Okay.
Never, do you normally, because of how much removal exists and how many people know about that card, if you see a Vegeta and you see a Goku and you see someone trying to spot up the 5 red mana, you're just like, yeah, one of those is not living.
Yeah.
But I mean, there'll be certain times where they can just, on 6 mana still just play a Goku and then bam, throw it down if they keep a Vegeta. But if you're a smart player, you kill the higher cost thing because they don't have multiple copies of those.
Yeah.
Those are just super obvious things, but yeah, Vegeta, that card.
So you're saying in the things that you want to look for whenever you build a deck.
Versatility over niche.
Okay. Yeah. I mean that makes sense with as wide as things you can. So at that point, you brought it up just now with, or you brought it up and then I made a slight remark with you about Cold Bloodlust and Crusher Ball. Those aren't actually very versatile cards when you look at their card text, but then when you use them, they stop everything in the game, including your opponent having fun.
Yep.
They are the fun killers, and I worked really hard to get this 7-drop Gohan to work, and it didn't. Or you Crusher Ball my dad sideways, and so I have to die on your turn.
But you having that kind of permission in the game is completely fine. It's just I think making it force of will is not good in the game.
We'll talk about that in a later topic. Yeah. Is there anything you want to add to things you look at whenever you deck build? Things you want to tell the good people?
No, not really. Cody's who I generally play test with.
Cody's very passionate about this game. He's got the passion.
So I actually completely agree on the package thing.
Don't get a whole lot of debacle out of us.
Well, okay, so I guess the last thing that I'm gonna do, whenever I have made this Gohan deck, and if I'm actually gonna do this podcast, and I have to learn how to play the game or whatever, I'll probably try and venture out, and I'll probably just try and make a bunch of meme decks, just to build and get experience and.
I got a meme deck you could play.
Go X3 at locals,
We got a meme deck.
I got a meme deck under the belt that I need played.
Okay, I guess. The point is, whenever I made my second deck, I made it with mono green. I took out Broly, and I threw in the best card text on cards, and then realized I couldn't kill anybody, and I couldn't live because I had too many 10Ks in my deck. 10K combos. Tap 1 10K.
Very, very
A lot of
huge.
people have that issue.
Huge whenever you're building. Eventually I want to figure out the science behind you should have X amount of 10Ks and no more. You should have X amount of no combos and no more. You should have the rest of those be 5s, and that's your ratio, and you figure out card text otherwise.
So that is bad reasoning. Alright, here's why it's bad reasoning.
Tell me.
If you pigeonhole yourself
Mhm.
into thinking that way,
Sure.
you start making incorrect deck decisions where you're playing filler cards that you don't need to be playing. So a good example is Mecha Frieza. So Mecha Frieza,
Of course it is.
well, this is one of the
Of course
cards.
it is.
This is one
Of
the,
course it is.
This is one of the cards that makes it like okay to play more 1K combos. So Mecha Frieza gets to play Sensu Bean for
Okay,
free.
now hold on. Mecha Frieza gets to play Sensu Bean for free.
Yeah.
So Sensu Bean, you draw a card to untap 2 things.
Yeah.
So that's not
Well, you don't draw
Then-
a card, you take a life. There's a difference.
you.
I can talk.
I
I can talk to you about card.
I
prices
put
all day
a
with
card
this.
into my hand to not die with. The life didn't matter. Life doesn't matter until it gets to 2. You said so. But that's not a very fair example to fight to debate me on this with, because no other character in the game gets to do that.
But every if you're playing blue, you could play Sensu Bean. You could still
Sure.
use 1 to untap 2, and then you have more room for 1K combos to be more relevant. And
Okay,
you can
sure.
still hold a counter up. So, like, to find that ratio, it depends on the deck you're playing for sure. But I mean, like, decks like Starter Deck Goku gets to untap roughly 2 mana when they awaken
Sure.
every single turn.
Sure.
So 1K combos you could see more of as a defensive option.
Okay.
Mecha Frieza is it's the best example for this, where it exists like more commonly and where you'd see it more commonly, is that the card Sensu Bean allows you to untap 2 to play 2 more cards out of your hand to live, which really matters when your opponent's trying to push for game.
I don't disagree with you. What I'm saying is, if you're not Mecha Frieza, then the option of Sensu Bean to untap 1, to 5K untap 1 is basically what it does. To then tap to drop the 2 doesn't mean that I should probably run more 10Ks.
There's a ratio. Well, there is a ratio in there, but it,
as the package as well. Like when you're choosing the Broly package, or just like any kind of
Goodbye.
package.
Yeah.
When I look at the Broly package, I'm looking at the color specifics and just how much 1Ks. That's 7 1Ks right off the bat, and then depending on what other colors I'm splashing and what my leader is, you'll kind of see what you have for
Totally.
10Ks.
I like that reasoning a lot better than you're wrong and you're an idiot.
well, no, it's
Just play Mecha Frieza and Sensu Bean, draw a card, untap 2.
when you're doing deck building though, you should never pigeonhole yourself into certain thinking.
I don't disagree with that. What I disagree with is not having a ratioed starting spot of it should start here. Like, man, I don't know enough about this game to like give you a real example, but in a different card game that I play that has a blocking mechanic, I don't play more than 8 cards out of my 60 that doesn't have a block. If I've got 9 or more cards, I sit down and I say, this deck is not correct, something has to change. Unless there is some specific, weird, crazy thing where I can randomly, take a non-block card and make it a block card. That's cheating the game. That's because my character does something really specific. Like, draw life, untap 2. That's my character. You look at Bobbity, and you're not going to be like, I should run a bunch of more 10Ks because I've got Sensu Bean in my deck. Bobby's going to fucking hate that card.
But that's why you play like
Like
Xeno Button.
So that one technically is another, not necessarily a leader
Mm-hmm.
specific kind of counter like the Frieza thing,
Sure.
but that one has its own, not niche, but its own counter to make it live.
Before we get too crazy off on this, all I'm saying is, when you're deck building, watch your combos.
Watch your combos, watch the packages you are using.
And that's why Kale's amazing. It's 'cause it's 0-5K.
That's why Kale's amazing.
That's why Kale's undercosted.
That's why Vegeta saves the day.
It's also 0-5K.
It's also 0.5K. But yes.
Yeah.
Check your ratios.
Check your ratios. Topic 3. I want to go ahead and just do my topic. We talked about it. We've hinted at it. The time has come, Cody. Tell me the pros and cons of monocoloring. Why would you monocolor? Why would you not monocolor? Start with the pros.
Do I have to go first?
I don't care.
Okay, so
You're learning me today.
Yes, you're.
I'm asking the question.
So pros is package and deck design for the most part. The only time monocolor decks normally ever exist is basically right now. Mono blue is a real thing because of Goku Black and Zamasu, and they are really mono blue specific.
Okay.
Now
It's difficult to splash other things.
Yes.
Okay.
Goku Black, there has been Babidi Blacklist, which played Babidi and Goku Black as a leader.
That's interesting.
And you
Because he
basically-
mana ran for one.
Yeah.
So you get Babidi on 5 instead of 6.
Yeah,
Yes.
and if you're also playing Objection and Whis
Sure.
ramp, so you can get to Bobby like pretty quickly and then just like play it, and then you're playing 20 red cards I think total. So you just try to get into your big stuff and win the game. But the better lists, in my opinion, are the ones that play mono blue.
Mm-hmm.
And mono blue works with a lot of hero leaders. So Zamasu, for instance, is drop a life. If it's a blue card, draw a card.
Sure.
That's a good one. And then Goku Black is if you have 2 blue energy, you can take a life, put it into your energy, but it has to be 2 blue energy. So another reason monocolor is that's like the pro to monocolor is that there's combos that work with it.
So, because Bandai game design creates monocolor
There are
decks.
color synergies.
Yes.
Okay.
Specifically with those two leaders.
Yeah. That's like the main one. Other ones that you'd be looking for is like mono yellow kind of stuff. Golden Frieza is one of those you have to play very heavy yellow. Just because to abuse your mechanic the best, you need to get rid of a lot of the 1-drops that cycle themselves. And the best way to do that is by playing, Sorbet, Goldos, and then Avenging Frieza and stuff like that.
Ginyu can also is
Ginyu
both mono and has the ability to
go into
multicolor.
infinite colors. So Ginyu, if you do multicolor, which is the Ginyu Force deck,
Mm-hmm.
the Ginyu Force is I think a 20 card. Actually, it's more than that. Ginyu Force?
Camera died, Ginyu Force.
Okay, so mono yellow Ginyu Force is a real deck because you can play like a 28 card package, which is every card that says Ginyu or Ginyu Force. and then basically there's synergy by playing. There's synergy. I don't know any of the Ginyu Force poses.
Way to let us down.
Yeah, that's. Well, no, Goldo goes like this. So the Ginyu Force deck, so Ginyu, the leader, can just like slam in free Ginyu Force cards out of nowhere, and then eventually you pump them up, and then you kill your opponent that way. It's that deck is like.
I thought it was super cool.
Huh?
There's also the promo from set 1, I want to say.
Yeah, I think it's that one.
So
No, are you talking about the whole Ginyu Force promo?
No. Not the Dash Pack one, but the one that's just like pendulum summon from my hand.
Yeah, play all Ginyu Force cards from here.
There's one that does that.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
And
We almost got fucked up by it at locals.
Cody, yes, it is.
Yeah, it's really scary, dude. I was at 8 life, and he just is like, I'll Ginyu. Alright, I missed. I got a thing to my hand. I'll tap 3 to play this. I'll slam down 6 cards out of my hand. And I'm like, oh, well, it looks like I'm flipping this turn. there's nothing we can do about that.
I guess I haven't looked at the Ginyu deck enough. I just knew about the Dash Pack promo, which is
also really
which
good.
is a super good one. I didn't know that happens when you combo. I thought it happens when it comes into play. I was just like, oh yeah, that card's really good.
It's both.
And then the Reliable Captain allows you to evolve Ginyu onto it like super early.
I think that's what we're talking about, but it has an auto that says, the Reliable Captain has an auto that just says, dump your hand.
Yeah, that's the last bit of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has other
Apparently
card
all
text.
overlooked.
And then you can 5 mana put the big Ginyu on it, right?
Yeah.
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 So you just cheat him out, and you're like, pow!
I mean, its biggest weakness is that all the...
Sensu Bean is its biggest weakness.
Yeah. it runs into the same problem that Ghost Tanks runs into, which is just like Sensu Bean, any deck that goes wide. Sensu Bean and... yeah, that's about it. Just
Boom, Eraser Gun.
Which
yeah,
brings
Raccoon
us
Eraser Gun is another big one.
into, like, I was playing monocolor, and I was very adamant about monocolor green. And I think I found the best green deck with set 1 and set 2. I threw them all together and went, this deck's not good enough. It's doing what it wants to, but it's very consistent at what it does, but it does not have the ceiling. When you look at, oh, my deck just loses because I'm not playing this one blue card.
I just think a lot of mono colored decks, like Goku Black, Zamasu, the whole Goku Black, Rose, Destroying Mana,
Rose.
Rose, the Ginyu. Not necessarily niche, but those cards kind of, when made, had a very specific purpose.
Sure, you could also say that same thing with the Cell deck. You could take, I think Cell, mono green Cell is actually like super playable. When you do things that aren't like, you have a 20 card green package, just fill the other 30 with green. Like the other broken green cards.
True, but you run... Okay, so the one thing with this game design, which I think Bandai either did intentionally or really messed up on, is that they made the blue splash
Way too good.
way too good. Because it's super easy. You can play 4 Jocos, 4 Whis, 4 Sensu Beans, and you just need to play one of those as energy, which is probably like you probably want Jocko to play as your energy.
Yeah.
And you can play Coercion every single time, because that's clearly the best counter spell.
Readies it back up.
Yeah. And then Sensu Bean, same thing. You can ready your blue again.
Or you just take a life and do it.
So Sensu Bean can just play off of itself. So, like, that was either intentional. I didn't spit in your eye, did I?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
I'm just a tired boy, and I got contacts.
That was either intentional, or it was just something that they didn't plan for, and now they have to play around it.
Also, if you're doing monocolored, like the Cell thing, for instance,
Yeah.
20 card package, fill it with other green stuff, you might get to the point where you're adding in a second package, which is not always bad, but then you might get the same situation like the Gohan deck you were talking about.
Mhm.
Just took all the best green cards, put them together, this deck sucks.
Sure. That's totally...
Multiple packages, multiple 10Ks, you're losing 5Ks, etc.
And then another thing to keep in mind is you get into more sideboard cards, especially for like green. You're gonna have to start main decking like cards that are very niche and lose versatility.
I mean, at the least they're mana.
At the least, they're mana. But like you could rather play more proactive, versatile cards by just splashing a color.
Sure.
Which blue is 99% that always splash color.
Sounds like magic.
That's not true.
I don't know. I'm talking about my ass. I don't play magic at all. Yeah, I'm happy with that resolution of why mono, why not mono. Mono does a very good, very specific job really well, and I think your leader and the deck has to super want to do that thing, like Rose, like Zamasu, like Zamasu, like Ginyu, but then if you want that focus, it does that one thing, but then you can open it up.
But we're also in that period of time where Cold
Two sets.
Bloodlust and Crusher Ball.
Mm-hmm.
We are in the do the thing meta, and they don't let you do the thing.
I don't think we're actually in the do the thing meta as much anymore. I still think it exists as like a thing.
I could agree with you that we're
Oh.
leaving.
Oh yeah.
Is this the fourth topic? Have we stumbled upon
The do
what
the
the
thing.
current meta is? Do the thing versus not do the thing?
Well.
Are we going to end this podcast with a good old-fashioned debate?
Okay, so
Maybe?
Maybe? Topic 4, what is the current meta of Dragon Ball Super?
I think we're gonna
Do the thing, not do the thing.
Well, if we're doing that, mine is.
His is gonna get swayed fairly quickly after
Well, mine
what I
is-
drink.
Be a man.
Well, mine is come Friday. I think it changes a decent amount because we're getting introduced to a new mechanic.
Banish your discard pile? Which is going to suck for my deck.
We're getting
I'm supposed to discard my whole...
We're getting at least one.
That doesn't
Hopefully,
matter.
the other
What?
6 do.
My deck doesn't matter?
No, because you attack with your leader last. So you can do all the cool overrealm stuff and then just like,
Combo
last.
thing.
You're right. You're right. I think I come with one card on Gohan. You're like, alright, It left. See ya, Dad.
But yeah, so if I have to say what the meta is, towards the end of the Do the Thing, we're getting into the block series of Overwhelm, and I'd like to think that come Friday, that's when the 14 cards, 7 villain,
At
7
time of
hero,
recording.
at time of recording, get revealed. I believe they come out the 26th, 28th.
They come out the 26th?
Pre-order at your local game store.
Cody, come on. Well, you ruined it.
Okay, I don't...
I'll fix it in post.
Are we about to cut stuff out?
No, absolutely not. I'm not doing all that work. Fuck that.
But you're still important to us.
Absolutely. The good people. So you're saying with these 14 new cards that the Do the Thing meta is going to be over?
Not necessarily over, but I think
It's going to change into not Do the Thing?
Smaller packages.
Smaller
Would you...
packages.
Okay, so...
Smaller packages make new packages
Mhm.
because, like I slightly said, we out of the 7 villains, we know one does overwhelm.
Overrun.
An overrealm.
Realm.
Which is a delve mechanic. That I
If
don't
you
know.
play Magic.
That I don't know what happens when you
And
pull Bloodlusted.
That's just banish.
Banish. Okay, so you can
Banish
play
X.
So this card is Banish 5, play it for 1.
Okay.
And then it KOs non-blockers, and then dies at the end of the turn and goes to your overrealm zone.
Which is the...
Exile.
Exile. Perfect. Perfect.
I'm assuming, since we're going into that block, set 3, and the rest of the 6 cards in the villain box will also have that keyword or play off of that keyword. So that's why I think we're towards the end of the Do the Thing and we're getting into something new.
Yeah, return from a different dimension meta.
Think so?
I hope to God not.
Yeah, I do too. That is one of my favorite things about the other card game that I
It
play. Is they don't touch
definitely
RSG at all.
I would be surprised if there is not
There's going to bring...
a draw mechanic, a special summon mechanic from that zone.
They do processing. So processing was the Rise of the Eldrazi mechanic where you bring in from your exile to your graveyard for an effect.
That sounds really interesting. Or put it on like the bottom of your deck.
Yeah, something like that. That would be actually super... Zamasu would be
Because
lit if that was real.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Take it from remove from game on the bottom. Like
Yeah.
you'd have to do that 5 times to get 1 life back. And that's a really interesting way because I mean Zamasu didn't do anything in the original, did he?
No.
So that just increases the possibility of that deck existing
Well, if
in
there's
the climate.
if there's anything that shovels your graveyard back into your deck, if there's any card like that, the game is immediately ruined. Because Zamasu can't really die. You'd have to kill him.
Well, like it depends on how quickly he can do that. If he over the course of the game gets 5 cards back and he just happens to be that 1 extra,
Well, I'm just saying if it's like a guy's blessing that lets you shuffle your whole entire deck, you just play 2 of those and you just have.
Oh no,
infinite deck.
that sounds bannable.
I also think that since the hero one appears to be a fusion themed,
Mm-hmm.
so overwhelm fusion, I think we're leaving the Do the Thing, a more linear Do the Thing of play bobbity blah 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 into a more packaged meta. So almost back to set 1.
Almost, yeah. Yeah. Well,
Because
set
Set
one.
1 was Do the Thing, but it was more packaged Do the Thing.
I don't. Go ahead.
No.
So set 1, I think, was more count the cards in your hand. That's what I think. I don't think set 1 had much of Do the Thing. I think it had to play. It was every deck that was like super good. You're either playing Champa aggro or you're playing super tempo. And then like every tempo deck, you had to play count the cards in your hand. So it's just like if you play objection in set 1, you're probably not gonna be winning that game as easily unless if you do something with that extra mana, which what you could do in set 1 was not as good as what you could do in set 2. So it was like I have 10 cards to your 8 cards, I'm eventually going to win this game just based on card advantage.
That makes total sense.
That's how I felt set 1 was. That's why it was a mindset to never play those free 10k combo cards. Those things never left your hand as soon as you drew one. So like your mana, like energy and all that, you would never play one of those as energy. Now in set 2, now that you're in a more like focused like game plan kind of strategy, it's normally okay to play one of those. Like
So like the under green, it's the trunks.
Yeah, it's like
The 0+0 if you're at desperation.
It's
10K.
like yeah, it's
Draw
like
card?
keep all your combo pieces, like keep all like your do the thing kind of stuff, or keep all like the cards that are actually going to swing the game correctly in your favor.
Yeah.
And like the only card that's just like not really fitting there very well is your 10k combo card. Yeah, I'd play it as energy, especially like in Mecha Frieza where I'd play it as my yellow energy if I want to keep like Cold Bloodlust or Crusher Ball up without paying life. I'm totally okay using that thing.
Mecha Frieza is my favorite hero in the game.
I can tell.
So super fair.
Your face
And
your
Crusher
face
Ball
glows.
and Cold Bloodlust make positive game experiences for
Your
everybody.
face glows every single time Mecha Frieza comes up. But where the meta I think is going, or where the meta is right now, is aggro is just blowing up. So blue-green Vegeta, that deck was just like super combo heavy, just casually played like Kales. So that guy was playing 7 cantrip cards, so Boos and bundled Gokus, and Kales to kill them off, and then eventually he was just gonna start chomping you to death, and just trying to just combo onto his leader and kill you.
Double
with
strike critical.
Yep.
Double Strike Critical.
Double
That's,
strike
that's
critical.
pretty good.
Win the game.
Alright.
That's pretty good. Okay, so Champa's a red card though. So he would just combo with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Never mana, always combo, because it still does the same thing and it doesn't have any energy requirements.
Makes sense.
Now the one thing where I really want to see the game go
Mhm.
is cards that I want to see made is I want to see the cards that are only used as energy and have effects when they're played as energy.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Play this energy draw card.
That would be busted.
Yeah.
Play as energy, pay 1, draw a card would be
Even
a little bit
scry
more fair.
abilities would be
Yeah, I
nice. Or
yeah.
scry lands.
So things like Skylands,
Dual colored cards would be nice. I
Yeah.
don't think we'll get there until maybe set 4, set 5.
If they're already this early doing dual stuff, like what's the design look like?
You won't see gold cards, I think, until set 6.
They need to like really flesh out what all the colors do. Like,
I think they made a bold statement on what all the colors do, like from set 1.
I think it's more of where the game is right now. Dual colors might not be the best.
I think it's super interesting as well that, like at our locals, I would arguably say that you two and Ryan are the best players in locals.
And Ryan?
Yeah, I'd say Ryan. I think
I
Ryan
think-
gives
I
you
think
guys a
Ryan's
solid run for your money. I think Ryan makes really interesting, fun decks that makes a really weird path for you to get through, and you have to really try at the game. I think Ryan's inherently good at deck building in this game, and I from what I've seen in other games as well, I think Ryan's fine at this game.
I think Ryan's really good.
But you guys do a lot of mind sharing, and Golden Frieza Mecha Frieza didn't win this event. I hate Mecha Frieza, and I think it might just be because I'm very pigeonholed in my shitty deck, and I just play you two the most.
I think you're right to hate Mecha Frieza.
Well, I mean, like, if Mecha Frieza was banned, I would still just be playing Ginyu at this rate.
Oh yeah? You think
Oh.
Cold Bloodlust and Crusher Ball are that powerful?
I really liked Ginyu.
Ginyu was a fair Mecha Frieza.
Okay.
You
You had to play a turn behind.
Sure. I'm totally down with that. I actually didn't... I felt like
didn't really play during that period.
I fought that Ginyu at locals last Sunday, and he was playing Crusher Ball and Crusher, Or
Cold Bloodless.
Cold Bloodless. What did I say? And I felt like it was actually a back and forth. Whenever I fought your Mecha Frieza deck and I luck sacked you, and was really, really happy about it, it was because I didn't feel in control of that game at one point. Not at a single point did I feel I put my guard up and went, I have to just wait for you to kill yourself and then hope that I draw. Hope that I have luck sacked. Because I had all 3 of the Enraging Gohans. All 3 of them were in my life. And so they weren't in the bottom of my deck. Of the top 8, you hit me and I pulled one up and I went,
the life.
Okay,
That's the best part.
I can breathe now. I'm not going to die. All of them, or maybe 2 of them, and I top decked the other one. Like, they were in the top 20 cards of my deck for sure.
Incredible.
And so I had to play a card that I deliberately, when I made the deck, when I first made this Gohan deck, I looked at it and went, I have to play Father Son Kamehameha because I keep getting fucked up by Cell. I keep getting fucked up by Buhan. And they're cheating them out too damn fast. Let me tap 1, kill your dude. I just don't want to deal with it. But just the counter's just better. And I deliberately had 3 of those in the deck back when I made the deck originally, before I got your list. Because I was like, I can't deal with these cards any other way. And so, I don't know. I think him being in the format makes me go, I have to main board things, because if not, I just don't get to have fun. I can't play like a well-rounded game. I have to really main board towards this deck.
That's somewhat what our local area has become.
Which will make you a better player.
But I also think is a sign that it's kind of a problem if you're forcing people to not necessarily play the way.
Oh, you ruin card design by making that leader. That leader needs to get banned.
Because I thought Cell was a problem. I still do think Cell is a problem. But Mecha Frieza is 100% banned with it.
I always feel like I can play around Cell. I never, because Cell just gets card advantage, but he doesn't have any crazy hand traps that are just effect Veiler. Skill drain your dude, tap it sideways so that the thing that you were going to do, the only hope of a pushback you had is to tap sideways, and I can now attack it and do 2 damage because of Miraculous Comeback Gohan.
So,
Boop.
if so everybody wants Cold Bloodless to get banned. Mm-hmm. They say Mecha Frieza will be fine. Kind of no on that. Because if you do that with Cell, the unlosable game with playing Perfect Force Cell is turn 2 TN, turn 3 Perfect Force Cell. Because if you're able to do that, your card advantage just ramped up to literally infinity and beyond.
Yeah.
And you also just maybe -2, -3 your opponent at that rate.
Yeah. Maybe more if you've been giving them pot shots.
Yeah, especially if you're also attacking them. So Cell would be a problem without Cold Bloodless. So I think Cold Bloodless is a fine card where it's at, but just being able to playing it for free or paying it
without any interactions.
Paying at the cost of 1 life is, I think, what made that card more of a problem. Because like when you're playing Tricolor Ginyu, that card was like a problem. You know, it was a thing you had to play around. It was a thing that was a huge bummer, but it kept Cell in check and in a fair way. But like now, it's just Cell doesn't really have that great of a chance. I think the thing that makes Mecha Frieza better than every other deck, though, is the turn 1 objection plays.
Yeah, depending on whatever your package is, objection into your search card.
Turn 1 objection and not having more options of what card you get to play down because you're taking the 1 life is probably what makes that deck way more powerful. But the only problem is objection is just a dead card outside of like turns 1 through 3.
Are you excited with how the meta is going, since that is technically the topic of this episode?
Yeah. I mean, it went into an aggro meta. A lot of blue-green Gokus. Vegeta was up there. I think the tempo's kind of making a comeback. People are playing around Cold Bloodlust a lot better, and they're getting around that by attacking with their hero more often.
Yeah, that's what I have to do.
Yeah, that's like the thing. The hero-focused decks. That's where Further Destruction Champa is a lot better. That's how the Trunks aggro deck did so well, is that it's more focused around its leader of gaining card advantage, so you normally don't like get screwed over.
Yeah.
The thing I was a bit kind of surprised at. I don't know how many people did. There was one deck I saw that was playing discards Frieza, but I don't know if he was playing Brawlies because I didn't look through the deck exactly.
The cell absorption list
Cell,
that we're
yeah, there
talking
was
about?
there was a cell absorption list that a Frieza deck was playing, which I thought I would have saw a little bit more of.
Because you could just
Because it's an uncold bloodlustable you discard.
discard two. That's interesting. That's really cool.
It's also, if you do the math correctly, it puts you ahead of your opponent. Mostly like, it's a +1 for you, and it's a +1 that you get to keep. That's like the biggest like strength of that card.
It's +1 they can't interact with.
Yeah,
Actually,
so it puts you up a card that they can't interact with. Yeah,
perfect.
But the thing is like, no matter how much life they make you take or anything along those lines, they're never going to gain that card back. Like, they're never going to plus a card on you unless they make a hero attack that you don't make. That's the only time. That's the only way, I think, in this game, other than Princess Speed Vegeta, Mighty Mask, and Cell Absorption gets you +1 card some way or another, is by just raw attacking with your leader.
Any closing thoughts?
Well, 2 side notes, just because Cody brought them up.
Sure.
For the leader attacking comment that you made, we just sat down. I know one day, I want to say me, Jeff, I want to say you were there as well. We just sat down, looked at all the leaders that were out, and said, which ones do we attack, which ones do we take it slow, and just gave the most common deck, at least in our area at the time, because I don't think regionals were starting at that point.
Okay.
But we were just like, what do we attack? What's the general game plan that you go in with, solely based on leader? Because we talked about packages. There's definitely, you can narrow it down fairly quickly.
Sure.
And then the Mighty Mask comment, amazing card. Didn't necessarily hate it at the beginning. Over the course of the regionals, one of the best cards. Also, side note that goes with it, hero boxes that are leaked. Goten Trunks. Mighty Mask is a really good card, especially when you search it out. And they're the same level.
And the picture is amazing. The 2 cards and doing the fusion. Oh, it's so sick. Oh man.
Search those out. Immediately play Gotenks. Draw 2 cards. Destroy something.
Yeah.
Pot of Greed's cool.
Pot of Greed's cool.
Pot of Greed's banned in the game. The one that it's made for.
I don't hate it. Mecha Frieza was a problem. I really liked the period, the Ginyu period, I guess, right before Mecha Frieza came out. I didn't necessarily have the issues with Cell, necessarily, that you might have experienced.
Well, I only have it because like the whole point of my deck is just to dirtle until you fuck up. And I'm supposed to have 80 cards in your hand, and you were supposed to try and kill me, and I go down to 4 cards and then go, oh, you can't deal with this, triple strike. You got in the danger zone.
I played against my fair share. Cell's fairly weak to Ghost Tanks. Especially if they're only playing mono green.
Sure.
Without Sensu Bean.
Without Sensu Bean, that deck's really scary.
So my experience was a little bit different. I made Cell lists for other people to play. I saw those, and the lists were pretty much no interaction, just live, and the leader itself will win you the game, more or less.
Just swing with Cell?
No.
No. So the first one I made was.
Because of the
leader itself.
The cycle draw.
The killing.
Cycle and snap kill something.
And the cycling, you will go into Perfect 4 Cell. You don't need to play the androids because you can just play Cell on 7.
Cell on 7.
Well, play Cell on 7, play Cell on 8 because at this point tapping out is not a good idea. It's never a good idea.
Unless you're Frieza.
You would then go into Broly. and then you would play Beerus, and then they lose their hand, and they lose the mana, and then the game's practically over. Can't really come back at that point for a late game, and you have nothing. So I built a couple lists like that. Cody built some lists like that, just really controlling. And then we went to the Ginyu portion of the meta, and I think that was a nice spot to be at.
I really like playing Ginyu. I went, 901 with Ginyu when I was playing Ginyu. Then Mega Frieza came out. Stop playing Ginyu.
With that, I'm going to bring this episode to a close. I'm not in love with a hyperbolic time chamber, so we'll put that as a placeholder here. Thank you for watching the content. What?
HTC.
HTC. Welcome to DBS University's HTC. Not in love. If you have any ideas for topics that you'd like us to discuss, you can leave them either in the comments down below. You can shoot the YouTube a direct message. I'm hoping to have Facebook up here relatively soon. I gotta get a logo and do all that bureaucratic bullshit with it. Ugh. And then you can also message people on Discord. I don't have a Discord. I'm not gonna get a Discord, but Cody loves trolling it.
Cody
So
loves Discord.
yeah, go see him on there.
Whis' training ground.
Whis' training ground?
Okay.
We'll table that. If you have any real ideas for the name of the show, we'd love to hear it. And with that, we'll have to figure out a sign-off, but stay along, guys.
See?
See ya.